Player 3 here. Today I'm winding that good old clock back to 1993, where I play a game based on the stories of H.P. Lovecraft, which winds us back to 1910. It's Call of Cthulhu. Shadow of the Comet. H.P. Lovecraft was born... Nah, changing it up a bit. You're not here for a history lesson on Lovecraft himself, you're here for the game. So I'm gonna give you the game. Plus, I'm sure you already know about Lovecraft and his stories and whatnot, because why would you play a game that has source material but not learn anything about that source material before playing the game? I definitely didn't do that. So, there's not much you can really find about this game. It's pretty obscure, but don't worry, I found some things about this game. Oh yeah. Let's see how this game came to be, minus the life story of Lovecraft. The game was developed by Infogrames, a French game development company which nowadays is part of Atari, but they had quite a few games under their belt back in the day. Let's see, they were a part of the Backyard Sports games, hey that's cool. Oh, Civ 3 and Mega Man 8 and Roller Coaster Tycoon and oh shit, North and South, that's awesome, and Mr. Nuts, of course. But these are all games after Shadow of the Comet, except North and South. Before the early 90s, they didn't really have much success, but those big-named games I mentioned, those were in their prime, and they were good games. It wasn't until Alone in the Dark in 1992 where Infogrames gained some traction, and with that game being such a success, why not make another game based on the works of H.P. Lovecraft? Shadow of the Comet takes place in New England, in the coastal town of Illsmouth, a play on the name of the town Innsmouth from Lovecraft's books. Here you play as a British photographer, John Parker, who is set to witness the passing of Halley's Comet. The last time the comet passed, a man named Lord Boleskine went mad for an unknown reason while examining the comet and its astronomical effect it potentially had on the town of Illsmouth. John Parker, rather David Bowie, is going to try and find out what exactly caused Lord Boleskine's madness. So, the controls are pretty simple. It uses an in-game UI for choosing which option of interaction is needed for each task, similar to the Scum UI for the Secret of Monkey Island series. These are staples of the point-and-click genre. Naturally, because of that fact, that the game is a point-and-click adventure, I figured, in order to move, I needed to point my cursor and click on the screen where I wanted to go. And yes, that did work, but it was really slow and just not at all efficient. Needless to say, I guess I'm pretty stupid not to try this earlier or give it any thought. But you can also use the arrow keys, and boy, I tell ya, that changed everything. Other than the movement, the aforementioned UI is very useful. You select between options of interaction, followed by clicking in-game on the person or object you want to use that interaction on when they are right next to you. Those being talk, for talking to someone, get, for grabbing an item in your line of sight, shown by a dotted line, use, for using an item readied in your readied item slot, look, for looking at an area or item, and the readied item box, which displays the item you currently have ready for use. The map of Illsmouth and also within the UI is a diary which showcases notes your character, Mr. Parker, has jotted down or drawn up throughout the game up to the point at which you are looking at the diary. Then, there is also the menu option for saving and loading your game, configuration for settings, and quit. As far as I know, there is no limit to save slots or overriding save slots, at least not in the version you can buy on Steam and play through DOSBox. That might be different from the original release because I know on strategy guides, they have certain areas for which they recommend you save the game. Getting into the game itself now, let's open it up. Okay, that is loud. I'm gonna skip that. That opening cutscene shows you the backstory of Lord Boleskine, which is the reason for Mr. Parker wanting to come to Illsmouth. Another quick point on mechanics, which I saved till moving on to the gameplay section here, is the dialogue. The voice acting is pretty good, I must say, but the way it is presented in the game leaves something to be desired for sure. Not wanting to bore you, but I'll let this dialogue play out as the game has it, though you can click space or enter or left click to move it along. But in doing so, you might cut off some dialogue or skip a whole box from someone if they have more to say. So let's just let the dialogue play.
You'll have solid proof, Mr. Griffith. I'll go to Illsmouth. I'll find the exact place where Boleskine made his sketches. I'll take photographs.
If I finance your trip...
Okay, that's enough. My criticism is meant for another section of my review, so let's continue. So, David Bowie here arrives in Illsmouth, and the first guy he meets is Vincent Price, rather, Dr. Cobble. From here, you are led around the town to Dr. Cobble's house where you will be staying while in Illsmouth. Your luggage has already been dropped off here. There isn't anything really that interesting to talk about early here on day one. Day one is really just to teach you how to play, give you a feel of the area and its people, and setting up for what's to come later on. Each event or item is supposed to lead to another clue to progress through the story. Later on, I found a lot of these puzzles confusing and needed help figuring out. But at the start here, it's pretty easy. Task number 1 is to get photo plates for your camera, and it's pretty obvious where to get those once you find where it is, the general store. Not only is the game slow at this point, but the monotony of day 1 being like a tutorial also added to the slowness as I was getting used to the game and learning locations and how things worked. Some noteworthy things, learning how to turn down the volume, which was overwhelmingly loud, and a bit later on seeing bars at the bottom of the screen at certain areas, that is of course telling you that you are able to travel downwards, and some places have 2 possible areas for it. The first real break is when you meet Jug. Things are getting a bit more interesting now. Looking back through my recordings, I arrived at Jug's place to talk to him a lot quicker than what it actually felt like when playing the game. By this point now, I've explored every building and a bit of the forest. Well, I guess there is one more place, the lighthouse. Oh, cool, more people to talk to. Oh, okay, I guess they won't let me go this way. I'll go somewhere else then. Oh. Okay, I guess fucking not. At this point, I had walked over the town multiple times. I felt like I was learning a lot, but also nothing at the same time. Also, it was really hard to keep track of where everything was and who was at each place and who everyone was. There was just a lot going on. Finally, though about an hour and a half through the game, I feel like I'm starting to make some real progress. I guess now, looking back through my notes, you were able to fast travel to certain areas on the map that are labeled and grayed out. I totally forgot about this apparently. I didn't have anything else in my notes until about an hour after I was using the fast travel that I just mentioned. That's how drawn out this game is. But it's okay, because I finally met Jack Nicholson. Seriously, at this point, you're gonna have to have a hard time convincing me that they didn't base at least some characters off the looks of real people. Especially this guy, because this is too spot on to Jack Nicholson from The Shining. What's next? Getting flirty with a nurse. Oh yeah, this happened. I was just going to list some more uninteresting things, but at this point, it actually got pretty spicy. I found this tribe who was chanting a ritual for Cthulu, so it only took 3 hours to get some excitement into the game. But it was pretty short-lived. Back to looking for clues. It was also at this point, 3 hours into the game, when I discovered how to use the aforementioned arrow keys rather than pointing and clicking to move. Skipping ahead a bit, we see blood and realize a lot more than before. Then we get into the mayor's office and watch a video of what Parker is reading. Finally, learning more of the reasons behind all the weird things going on in Illsmouth. And now, finally, we get into the lighthouse. Oh shit, they know I'm here. I gotta escape. Oh, cool. Wings. Here I go! Did I miss something? Ah, I did. Okay, for real now. I'm out of here. Oh yeah. Oh, it's gypsy time again, baby. Okay. Now the music is starting to piss me off. Okay. Well, now after about 4.5 hours in, I really lost just about all interest in the game. There was nothing happening, but then it finally came. Fun! It's fun now. This crypt stuff? Yeah. Going through, picking up items, dodging enemies, dodging traps, going through the maze of rooms, solving small puzzles to advance through and unlock hidden rooms. Finally, something other than mindlessly exploring the town repetitively for hours. And then, I got to the end of the crypt, and spooky shit happens. And now, I gotta run. What happens if he catches you? That happens. That actually jump scared me. Alright, I made it out of the crypt. Good stuff. And it's finally some fun happening in the town itself. And look, a cat. I wonder if he's a reference to Lovecraft's cat. What was his name again? Okay. Day 3. Dawn of the final day. And what a better way to start the day than this bitch assuming my gender. Wow, in the year of our Lord, 1910? Shameful. So, I talked to Mr. Underhouse, and thankfully, he's a real bro, or else the cops would have taken me in, I guess, even though I'm helping them. But I guess they don't know that, so the cop ends up leaving, and here he goes! Okay, anyways, back to the shack. Okay then, I get it, it's spooky, but please learn how to control the volume of your music, and this creaking, please make it stop. Moving along, speedrunning my review now. In the forest, oh shit, a quiz. I hope I took good enough notes for this part. Moving right along, after a boring start to day 3, dawn of the final day. Here we are in a cave now, which is very similar to the crypt from earlier. So the game is actually fun again. And we're out. No spoilers here. It's how I'm doing it now. And now that I'm out of the cave, I have to sail to a different island, and David Bowie ain't fucking around anymore. He's serious about getting this boat. This part now feels a lot like Monkey Island. I like it, but this game is definitely no substitute for Monkey Island, I tell you what. Alright, we're in the endgame now. Oh yeah, remember how I was starting to like the game again now? And, you know, the saying of people only remembering you for the last thing you did? Something like that? Well, on this end island place, I have a hard time getting off the beach. Then I have the worst time trying to get past these enemies. It took so many attempts that I was actually about to give up and just end my gameplay here. Then the game crashed. And then the actual finale was lackluster, so, you know, that's that. That's the game. Now that we're done with the meat of this review, here comes my favorite part, where I tell you all the gripes I had with the game. Not that I already didn't share some of those with you during my gameplay walkthrough. It really seems that I've lately just been bashing these games I've been playing. It's whatever, I guess. Maybe they should just make better games. Anyways, let's start off with the beginning, the basics, the town of Illsmouth itself. So, granted this is a fictional town, but I still don't feel like this excuses this detail. So, Illsmouth is a town in New England, America, if you will. Yet the townspeople have British accents. But the year in which this game takes place is in the early 1900s, so I find that odd. So, are we actually in Britain then? Well, I still don't know. Maybe Illsmouth is supposed to be set in England, not New England. Alright, then why are there American flags everywhere? Now I'm really confused, because they are all still speaking in a British accent. I have no explanation for this. All I have to say is that this seems like a mistake, and therefore docks points in my deciding how much I like this game. Because that really took me out of the story because of the lack of continuity and realism there. Next, I wanted to bring up how there are 3 different art styles throughout the game. I'm not sure whether or not I'd call this a gripe about the game, but I at least wanted to bring it up. Next is this, right here.
Later. I'm very busy.
You hear this?
The mayor is not here, sir.
The only people in this room who could speak are me and this clerk, and I know Mr. Parker, me, didn't speak. So they just decided to use a different voice actor or something, I guess, for this one line of dialogue? That's another point for throwing me out of the story. Alright, how many left? 10 more gripes. 10 more things to bring up. Okay, well let's go. 1. The map. Though, I guess, does have a fast travel ability, somewhat, still didn't give a good picture of the town of Illsmouth. I would just be as confused if there was no map at all. No matter how long I looked at it, I still couldn't fully grasp where I was most of the time, let alone what each place is called because of so many character names being thrown at you. This strategy guide here has a pretty good picture of the town map, and it looks a lot better than the actual one in-game. I wish I had this strategy guide when playing it through myself. 2. The Gypsies. 10 out of 10 every time I met them. It was just this stupid little annoying riff. Comedic relief at its finest, though I'm pretty sure that wasn't the intent. I really felt like this game tried to take itself too seriously. 3. I don't know whose idea it was to make you have to put in actual order the chemicals necessary at this part for developing photos, but unless their entire target audience for this game was Jim from the photo development shop in the 90s, then I don't know who the fuck they were trying to cater to. 4. I mentioned it before, but That space between lines of dialogue is so unnecessary and flawed because of the lag between visual and audio parts of it, and the fact that you can actually cut off someone's lines, thus missing potential important parts of the story. 5. Overall, the voice actors, they did a very good job bringing those characters to life. Unfortunately, there is only so much a voice actor can do when the story is this bad. 6. The only really good parts of this game, the crypt section and the cave section. If the game was a majority this, or all this, then I would not be ripping on this game so hard, because I have very little, if anything, bad to say about those sections. 7. The gypsy sound is one thing, but this can stop. I hate it. 8. Quiz time. Did you write down literally everything that was said and that you did throughout the game? Cause that is what makes a game fun, having to take a test about it in order to advance through the story. Great idea. I bet the same guy who added the photo development chemical part added this part too. 9. The game crashed. Yes, straight up. That pissed me off. And 10. That ending was not worth the journey to get there. So, there you have it. Everything worth to mention that I liked and disliked about the game. On to the rating. Overall, I didn't really care for this game. Plain and simple, though there were parts I really enjoyed. When put together with the overwhelmingly boring parts and the like, I'm gonna have to give Call of Cthulhu Shadow of the Comet 5 out of 10, which is still honestly not that bad. I mean, if you saw a game in a store rated 5 out of 10, you probably wouldn't pick it up, or at least wonder why it has such a low rating, but 5 is right in the middle, so it's sort of average. So, if a game is less than this game, according to me, it's pretty safe to say it's bad. I'm looking at you, Bubsy 3D and Theme Park Mystery, and, of course, higher than this, a good game, or at least better than average. I'll get some more into my new ratings soon enough. I got one more video to upload first, a brand new one this time. I'm finally caught up with my channel migration. Anyways, that's all for now. See you next time.